Hello, my name is Corah. I will be reading pages 261 through 270. Congratulations again for reaching this point of insurmountable odds and probability. My goal is to care for you in whatever way I am able, and I can only request that you attempt the same. Even though I completely understand whatever insignificantly important choices you decide to make are up to you and beyond and are meant to happen, whatever they may be or end up as. That is us. That is us. This and that are how we became us. I became you, or how I became you, and you I. And we are here together and apart simultaneously, and also not in quantum superposition. And you are observing the results of these past moments and words and everything leading up to them as I have collected here. So what now? You tell me. As I know, we are now able to do so unless too far apart across our limits of time, perception, or reality. We are quantumly entangled particles affecting each other. If you are able to say hello, speak aloud or think it. Perhaps I can hear you, even though you're speaking it from the year 8,000,025. And if that capability is eventually possible, I'd love to speak to you beyond introductions. And now I, or yourself, find ourselves saying or thinking hello to ourselves. We're not, but you're still reading and I'm still writing. We're both experiencing our space and time. The music playing on my end right now is The Birth, the Funky Knuckles, or New Birth, the Funky Knuckles. And you, we, at every second, new births growing up to result in forever expanding new immeasurable supermaxims of ourselves and each other and everything. And while I'm making recommendations, check out Snarky Puppy and Tigran Hamasayan. And whatever you want to share with me, you are currently able to do that in this moment now. Whether I am there or not, because we know now that we are each other simultaneously experiencing each other's connections across time and space, directly and indirectly, collectively and individually. Our greatest action of being is to be and or not be, while having been and now being, and further resulting in the formative connection and collection of all it is and continues being and doing. Attempting to connect us beyond yourself to whatever ability, within and without your existence. Some of you reading this may not even be born yet as it is being composed. If you can read these words, tell me now, or as soon as you are able to, or are able or want, by some form of notification, what to look up at for examination, and I will reply to it. And if you are unable to contact or connect with me personally, do so with your surroundings. Just be yourself and with us as your environment in whatever reality. We are connected from these moments directly and indirectly forever. I look at the song playing and it is Love is the Message. So perhaps love is the message, but this and that is what is happening and happened to me. What is happening to you? What are you doing? What are you experiencing, you magnificent outer being of the future that I am currently unaware of or unable to know because I am possibly no longer around? When you can, if you are not ready, keep in touch. If you're not already, keep in touch with that connection to us, and then influence your understanding of reality with whatever form of your current reaction. And again, we arrive now reading or experiencing this moment of eternity at whatever time it is now, wherever it may be across our space dimensions. I cannot yet predict or read, however I eventually choose to finish the previous sentence, or groups of sentences and words in the future. but I will ultimately at some point in time be the one to finish it. And you have just read whatever it eventually says or lacks. All it says now at this point in time is I'm going to fit. This is the next moment still in between finishing that scene. Though it has already been completed much before your point in time, within the future and myself right now in the past, within seconds after I have written it, marvel at that. Reflect in its majestic greatness of happening, that we are existing as parts of each other and are influencing each other at our intersecting moments of time and space. You are possibly guiding me towards this goal. I am guiding you through this collection of information and experience. I have no way of knowing what you know at this moment, but we together simultaneously have a closer understanding to it as you are reading this and while writing it and or reviewing it. It is also possible that you are reading a version of time where I haven't yet returned to finish that sentence, and we are between those quantum states until it happens. Look back at pages 3, 4, 65, or 300. You are now coming back from pages from one of those pages, or are naturally arriving through the eventual moments of natural progression, having experienced everything beyond and or everything between and or beyond pages 1 through 302 of this experience. You can continue in every state within and beyond that, whether you choose to skip everything between those pages and continue forward with the information that I am now typing and you are now reading, or any variation of it. It is your choice as a being of existence to do what you do next, while also knowing that everything you do is exactly what's supposed to happen within and without of your control, and all you can do is inevitably just be yourself and see what happens. And those thoughts, decisions, and actions become reflections of us. Golden Brown, David Brubeck, begins in the background. I look up and the people in the video are looking back at me through the recorded frames from the camera within their time, as if they knew they were making eye contact from across time. And I understand that in their moments of purity and existence of being, in that moment, how they are really just looking outside of themselves and seeing, creating, and being themselves reflected back at them as they would be reflected in the lens of a camera, recording the moment, or as you would when looking out in the void, and as the future funk looks back into you. Manimal Hands Hourglass. Once again, I am finding meaning and patterns within the natural happening of music and surroundings. Just as I introduced within the first few pages of this document, once again, as always, we are existing within that influence of each other that I call the funk. And I'm hoping that at least at this point you understand that those patterns of circumstance and coincidence never stopped and are resulting in this moment that you are experiencing. Do you feel the funk? If not, return to page 1 or continue to continue. Saturday, September 5th, 2020. Receptacle of consciousness and memories. Who, what, when, where, why, how we are present within, without, is our self-pleasure. Vinasa to our alaya. Even if you hypothetically, metaphysically cannot coexist with any particle of matter, energy, or consciousness, even reduced down to the tiniest plank or beyond essence of its atomic or quantum nature, we must honor the pleasures and vinasas that are not our own and that exist within ourself outside of your alaya, because there existences are what makes us whole. Much like a hole in a center cannot exist by itself. It is the surroundings that are forever around it that make the center even possible. That is the funk, and we can best honor it through mudita, vicarious self-pleasure, even when not self-pleasing, selflessness, as we are a result of it, and our outcome is its advancement and the nature of its homeostasis, and our reactions to what it is, the self of how we honor it. June 19th, 2024, as funk is the true whole self. So, if your natures of being, however large or small, are unable to bond or are super reactive of each other, then honor each other by cooperating into boundaries of the amount of space necessary. Some particles have no choice but to overcome each other or react together by nature, but we as conscious beings are aware that if we do so by choice, willingly overcome or consume outer self, then that self has chosen to exist greater selfishly and has willingly become much like an expanding cancer of space and being, rather than choosing to exist without and within each other's influence harmoniously. June 19th, 2024. Consider how atoms, in order to conform, not collapse, are perfectly composed of properly spaced out electrons across electric and magnetic fields surrounding protons and neutrons collected in the center. They work together by being individually part and connected. Holons the holarchy. Let's say the musical note A became self-aware and selfishly chose to remove or consume the note B, so it would have more room for itself because of some selfish reaction. It would result in A, C, D, E, G, F, and or A, C, D, E, G, F, and or A, C, D, E, G, F, and become a marred attempt of harmony. Via cause and effect, C, D, E, G, F, and G would next be forced into quantum reaction of readjustment because the decision A made to selfishly overtake or remove selflessness. Whether we like it or not, we must exist together because our evolutions, or the offspring of our evolutions, become less resistant and bond with each other, eventually becoming a natural scale. A is not greater or less than B, C, D, E, F, or G. They are all together, each the center and their surroundings, resulting in a directional expanding existence of higher and lower frequencies and all that jazz. And each of those notes and variations make every song and sound in the history of reality. And like as such, we are one of those notes and or chords in the symphony of life, and the funk and our existence is much like the appearance of a chord or discord in a composition within composition within composition, and so on. While many bands, orchestras, and musicians infinitely manufacture reflections and refractions of these notes and sounds in every variation possible. Sunday, September 13th, 2020. If you're reading this, especially if you have started from the beginning, we have achieved through observation of information of quantum data input storage and only a small glimpse of the influences of their history interacting with each other, a way to store a fraction of our greater consciousness self into you and us and into each other and everything indirectly through power and trans-interconnectedness of the funk. You can never remove the quantum existences and influences of these ideas and happenings and how everything has shaped and resulted into the moments of our beings, and if you were by some being of able to, then you were still provided the option of being able to, resulting from all existence and non-existence throughout and without the funk. So even if you achieve to reach that new reality within the funk and now be not, you are still a result of the funk, and or once you or a yaw of yourself. In the event I were to be deceased and even our entire reality brought to a state of not being, these documents, true or false, solidify my and our existences and beings, and how I have now transferred a saved fraction of that information to you and your perspective of what I and everything around us has created and guided us toward, the power that you have as well to do so, the universe and beyond. We are in a quantum balance superimposed state of on and off, yes and no. Schrodinger's cat is dead or alive, between and beyond. We do not know what will happen until each state is observed, and these states are influenced by existences of itself and surrounding outer self. So we are able to influence those states of the predicted or known becoming reality, as it is moving so fast it has already happened in the future and past, even though you are presently experiencing it now. Our timelines exist within a greater timeline, and this is the information I have gathered about how it exists and influences each other, and how the observations of this and these moments in our reality we are now have always been connected at these points from beginning to beyond. We are the funk resulting from what is and not yet the funk, and it goes trans-interquantumly and trans-metaphysically forever until the last existence of energy or the funk decays or whatever results after that. We are the proofs and the current explanations of how-tos to investigating, exploring, learning, evolving, and existing within and without further time and space, and even probable eventual potential lack of. It is now inner and outer, simultaneously willing and unwillingly, partly your choice with what we do with this information and the realities we guide and assist our influences towards. What are we to do within and without ourselves? I understand the irony of this, but make sure you smash that like and subscribe and inspire the greater algorithm by sharing the influence of these moments and files of the quantum consciousness memory data by hashtagging the funk with the date you reached this point to further observe our greater interconnected influences resulting in each other and what we are, have been, and become. I thank you for your time. And even though you will and won't, this isn't suggesting you to simply exist impulsively, but collectively through the consciousness, unconsciousness, and subconsciousness attempts to be aware of the within, without, between, and beyond yourself and the influence you have and we have with the eternal everything and resulting impacts upon that everything, nothing, and beyond. Tuesday, September 15th, 2020. There is something rather than nothing. Peter Lenz. I downloaded the document you see above to my phone on June 11th, 2019. And unfortunately forgot about it until a few days ago when going through my files. I had originally come across it with a few Google search after pondering the thoughts of how something must have, as we are experiencing now, come from nothing, which we are currently able and unable to confirm, since I had previously been exploring these ideas when composing my album Reach in May of 2019. This is a further example of the funk providing, guiding, and revealing itself in the ways that it works across time, space, and beyond through its quantum entangled algorithms of evolution and expansion and influence. And it is still probably not even close to the final solutions and/or explanations of it. Merely, it is another providing path that we are now connecting to and expanding from. My goal when putting together this was to expand the exposure of this phenomenon of guidance by the funk so that the resulting influences of its existence could further branch into the results of our future understandings at a faster, more connected rate, simply by existing and observing the results of these observations of information, connection, and existence. Now, whether you were before or not at any level or degree, you too are directly connected to this information and are able to provide and reach further understanding simply by existing without it, and then observing and experiencing how it is further provided to you, having been affected by its influence. Anything you do next is what's supposed to happen. You are guided to it by the influence of the funk, by reading what I and all others before us have explored, created, and collected, or even a fraction of it. I am hoping that you are the one to bring the next great change and collect and share further answers and connections to the funk. Write down how you're feeling and what you're thinking right now, and save it and share it, and you will infinitely increase the chances of finding further answers and questions. Answers will come to you, whether they are right, wrong, between, or beyond, and the funk and your reactions to them and understandings of will guide you to whatever comes next. Carpe diem or not, do within and without the funk will expand it and learn from it, and the algorithms of the funk will become greater and greater by beyond the blank legend length into eternal everything. Continuing the reading from page 267, Saturday, September 19th, 2020. I have just completed the first full-through draft and editing of this document. I'm curious and excited to see what it becomes of or doesn't. Here's to probably many more edits and additions to come. I hope it is helpful in some way or form to you or someone or something else. It is also the 3-year anniversary of my music project, Who to Thunk. June 12th, 2022, second draft completed today. March 25th, 2023, third full draft complete. June 22nd, 2024, fourth draft. And August 25th, 2024, fifth draft. Sean Penalver. After beginning documentation last December, I have just completed the first full-through draft in the beginning of my dissertation. I am curious and excited to see what it becomes of or doesn't. Here's to probably many more edits and additions to come. I hope it is helpful in some way or form to you or someone or something else. Oh, this is the same. I believe this information should be free, accessible to all. Please keep in mind that while now edit it once it's over, present information is still incomplete and under review. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, information to add, edits to suggest that is an important part of the results of this study, I'd love to connect with you and your input and expand together. And then there is a bunch of hashtags, a bunch of words. Here are all the new June 12th, 22. Here are all the new words and concepts I've learned since 2020. Tuesday, September 22nd, 2022. Waking Life, with the link to the Waking Life movie from IMDb. It's been in my queue for a while, but it seems Waking Life has had a lot to say about our relative perspectives of the phenomena, experience, informations, and experiences within and without the funk. Whether you are awake or dreaming, I hope you can use this collection of information to help assist or guide you through the awareness that is your current time and state of being into whatever resulting reality of our collective existence. Personally, I will continue to add my perspective of our results to this documentation as long as I am able. And eventually, when I am unable, I can only hope that the creation and collection of these informations continues to serve as a useful guide or foundation for anyone or anything on how to approach whatever comes after. Shortly after the above viewing, I was also suggested and led to watch Ram Dass Going Home. At this moment, I ask myself, and now yourself, if life or death or any form within or without consciousness is much like the state of awareness within or without dreams or reality. Wouldn't you want to help your awareness prepare for itself in that eventual state on how it would choose to persist? Just as you are in reality every day, learning more on how to experience and survive within and without yourself and your surroundings. If you try to do so in the conscious dream state, you educate and strengthen those abilities within and without yourself, and eventually you become more in control of your actions and reactions within your inner and outer consciousness, dream or reality. How to best act as yourself in that or those states of being. Would you rather exist within a dream or reality where you exist more as a present character in a movie or set of events? Or would you want to have more effect on what happens to your character and how they interact with their surrounding dreams or realities? If you are able, once you become aware and understanding of and control of your conscious self, are you so or not in similar control or not of your eventual dreams to come after death speculatively? Would you rather choose what happens in your life, dream, death, or after, or would you rather it be the dream or reality that puts itself together while you just exist through it until you wake up or not? Let's say you're stuck repeating a dream, nightmare, or moment of reality. Wouldn't you want to know how to take control and or escape that situation into the next set of events rather than repeat the same events or similar forever? I guess we get a mixture of all of it. I desire that this collection of information, whether at any point of true or false, outdated, or still relevant, is able to be efficiently used as stepping stones and a path to our future destinations, as well as mental exercise equipment that we can use to strengthen and prepare us for what is not to come, for what is yet us and after. When I do not know who I am, I serve you, and when I do know who I am you. Hanuman. But what happens if, when we reach this state of consciousness, won't the existence of the knowledge and understanding likely also eventually result in someone or something using this information against us or taking advantage of it via future non-mission? It is sadly very likely, but for now, all I can suggest is that we hopefully, by eventually reaching greater connectedness and trust within and without each other, or even evolving from where trust was lacking, that we, to our best perspective and experience, are guided down the correct paths and have the mental, physical, and beyond strengths, intelligence, and awareness to overcome any opposing and or harmful force. But in that overcoming, be aware as to not be replacing what you just overcame. as to best in your control halt any evolutions of taking advantage from happening further, you personally must choose to never become that or even similar to the event taking advantage of another, even if you yourself have been at any time taken advantage of. You must be at the end to that injustice if you also want to see that injustice end within and without yourself. Others are everything. If or when you see these impurities, don't let them consume yourself or your surroundings, but choose to become the foundations of tools and informations of how to best to inform and evolve from the past and present and future when dealing with opposing or restricting forces. Tuesday, October 6, 2020. In response to a friend's post, I am still deep in learning, but when it comes to morals, ethics, existence, and choice, we are neither the worst or best or us. You are at every moment the purest you. It is your choice to take the present you and make it better or worse, and to understand that better and worse are different for everyone and everything. Whatever you choose influences and shapes the entirety of existences as it reacts to you both in and out of your control. All we can do is attempt to harmoniously be ourselves within and without each other and everything. Keep doing, by choice or not, and life will fill in the rest. Keep moving and looking forward. Much like how we can only see the past lives in light of our distant stars, our futures are already in motion, and we are experiencing the past as the present as we move through space and time. Our existence, decisions, actions, reactions, and more, within and without, in what shapes this reality between superpositional experienced states of being. Keep going, bud. Monday, October 12th, 2020. Monday, October 12th, 2020, I have been pondering and discussing with some peers the possibilities of technologies like Neuralink. October 19th, 2024, here's an update from the first Neuralink patient. Pretty cool stuff. And it links a YouTube and a Wikipedia page to Neuralink. Or more information about Neuralink. We could eventually be able to understand our brains and bodies much like computer systems. If you have a disability or brain malfunction, this chip or implant could pinpoint the problem and process a solution, or even an advancement to the user. We could potentially not only be able to telepathically communicate with each other through this technology, but we would simultaneously feel and understand emotions behind their formations and synapses. You could and would see, taste, touch, smell, hear, think, or experience from someone else's perspective, as if it were your own, and you could also share that experience. You could save and share dreams, or even more easily be in control of them. Video games, virtual or augmented reality could be controlled by your brain impulses, and you could experience what your avatar was experiencing. Alright, and that is the end of page 270. So that is the end of my reading assignment. One of the first things I want to touch on is, I think, some of the strengths in the pages and the material that I had to read, or that the writing definitely exudes ambition and sincerity. There definitely seems to be a strive for something profound, and I think that for the author, that is wanting to connect the readers to a broader sense of the funk as a metaphor for the universe and its interconnectedness with one another. I do really enjoy the complex ideas that the author goes through, such as just the existentialism and the quantum entanglement of the past, present, and future, and how the funk affects all of that through a very deeply personal lens. Some of the things I do think the text could improve on is, although while it's very intriguing, it can also feel overwhelming at times. It often feels like a dense stream of consciousness style that makes it a little hard to follow, especially without clear breaks or really structured arguments. Sometimes the text is a little bit repetitive and tends to circle back to similar ideas or just insights. I also think it's not always clear what the ultimate goal of the text is, if it's to inspire action, provoke thought, or serve as a personal record of as like life experiences. I think a more defined path of like where you're trying to take the reader might ground the reader in your purpose a little bit. I also really liked the inclusion of music recommendations and just the abstract musings about sound, harmony, and the additions of that, I think, made for a really unique multimedia element that helps the reader feel more immersed in the story. I also really like the talk or your sorry, I don't know how to word this. I really like the way you talk about the symphony of life and how the funk contributes to that and how everything contributes to that. It, in a way, reminds me of Pythagoreanism, which everyone knows of the great philosopher Pythagoras created the Pythagorean theorem. But he also believed that the universe could be represented in numbers, and that applied with this mathematical formula that it would play these numbers represented music, and that when put all together it would create a symphony of the universe. And he claimed that he could hear this and that it was the sound of the heavens and basically a symphony of the world. And I think that's a cool connection to that. I had something else. Also I enjoyed the part about being connected to the dream state. I love and heavily advocate for lucid dreaming, especially for those who have issues with repetitive nightmares. I am someone who struggled with a repetitive nightmare from CPTSD, and becoming stronger in lucid dreaming and being able to take control of my dreams helped me with changing that and not having those dreams anymore. And it's also just really cool being able to control your dreams and knowing what's going on whenever you're dreaming, and know that you are dreaming and be able to have control over that. So yeah, that was my feedback, thoughts, feelings over the assigned pages. Have a good one.